July the 27th, 1953. Here at Panmunjom, Korea, United Nations and communist delegates meet to sign the Armistice Agreement, which will put an end to 3 long years of fighting. In the tense atmosphere of this bare building, unsmiling communists sign the formal paper. The terms are clear. Effective 2,200 hours, the United Nations Command and the People's Army of North Korea will cease fire and prepare to withdraw all troops and equipment 2 kilometers from the military demarcation line. But the war will wear on for 12 more hours. Men will fight. Some will die. The Army, the Marines, Air Force, Navy will carry out routine operations until the last round is fired, the last bomb dropped, the last broadside fired, and the last carrier-based plane returns from the final strike. 2,200. Cease fire. An unnatural silence crosses the front, over shell-marked hills, pitted shores, and the cold, dark sea. The guns are quiet. Armistice. For pilots and crewmen and sailors aboard carriers, it's been a long, grueling war. As the uneasy truce goes into effect, these men can look back over the months and find on each page of the calendar the record of their carriers' accomplishments in the Korean War. Many remember the first carrier strike of the war, how within 48 hours of receiving combat orders, the fast Valley Forge steams from the Philippines to a launching point off Korea. Here, on July 3rd, the Valley and the British carrier, HMS Triumph, send the first strikes against the communist capital of Pyongyang, North Korea. More carriers follow. In these hectic days of the Korean conflict, Navy and Marine squadrons concentrate on Red Armies surging south across the peninsula. They make the transition from World War II quickly. Their mission is clear. First, air support for Army and Marine troops defending a shrinking perimeter. Strikes to within 50 yards of friendly forces. Here, peacetime training pays off. Ranging far behind enemy lines, carrier planes find plenty of targets. Troops, trucks, trains, tanks, ships, planes, all moving against United Nations forces holding the Naktong River line. Communist harbors, factories, refineries and mines, the sources of enemy war material. By September, it's time for the Allied end run at Incheon. Now, carriers move to positions off the enemy-held coastline. Planes soften up invasion beaches for the assault forces, provide protective cover to infantry units breaking out of their beachheads. More landings carry the war home to the communists. Chinampo, Wonsan, Iwon. Carrier-based aircraft sweep in to provide close air support to ground forces slugging their way north through Korea. United Nations troops advanced rapidly towards Manchuria, but communist armies are now receiving strategic war material from friends in the north. To reach the front, these urgently needed supplies must cross a river, the Yalu. In November, the Yalu bridges become priority targets for carriers operating off Korea. Navy planes use time-tested dive bombing techniques to hit these pinpointed targets spanning 200 miles of frontier. And it hurts the communists. For the first time since early in the war, their Air Force appears. The Reds go after Navy bombers, but they must reckon with Navy F-9F Panther jets first. In early November, jets from the Philippine Sea tangle with MiGs over the Yalu. In high-altitude battles, these planes make the first Navy jet kills of the war, and the bombers sweep down to wreak more destruction. But now China enters the war. Waves of troops surge down from the north and stop the United Nations advance in the snow-covered mountains and valleys. The 8th Army needs air support, desperately. Vice Admiral C. Turner Joy, Commander Naval Forces Far East, throws every available aircraft carrier into the fight. Flying from positions only a few miles from the actual battlefront, Navy and Marine carrier planes encounter the full fury of Korean winter. But it takes more than snow to stop the carrier sailor, the carrier pilot, Throughout the final days of 1950, naval aircraft keep up their relentless pressure until the last United Nations soldier is evacuated from North Korea.